Hi, my name is Anna Rodell, and I'm with the Department of Employment and Economic Development. I'm the product owner of the Grants Management System, and this is a training video to get you started on the pre-contract process. I'll be sharing my screen and walking through the Grants Management System that is a part of DEED to help you navigate how to complete your pre-contract documents as you navigate your contracting process. So similarly to you going into the grants management system for your application process, you will be going to the same website to log in with your username and password. That website is mndeedgrants.mn.gov. These instructions have been sent to you in an email along with your award notification, and it will walk you through all the documents that you are responsible for completing and submitting to DEED prior to contracting. So I'm going to show you how to navigate that system as we go through our testing site to set up a scenario for you that will look similar to what you experience when you log into the system. I do want to point out a new feature that is part of our system since you last interacted with it, and we now have a language transcription feature. This language transcription feature shows on the front page, and I'll also show you how to set that language preference within your own profile in the system. I do want to note that if you change the language to something other than English, you will be asked to still submit your answers to any forms, any fields that you're filling out in the system in English, because we cannot transcribe those documents that you fill in to any other language. So please, if you do use this feature, please put your answers in each question in English. But you can select your language of choice by clicking on this drop-down icon and choose whatever language you would like to have it transcribed to. So if I select Vietnamese, I can see that now the site is transcribed in Vietnamese for me. Again, all answers that you submit should be in English, but this is a helpful tool if you need help with language transcription across the website. So I'm going to switch it back to English here for training purposes. So I am going to emulate logging in as an authorized organization representative in the system to walk you through the different processes that you'll be going through. So I've entered in my username and my password. If perchance I forget my username and password, I can click on this Forgot Username Password button below the login button here. That will then allow me to reset my password. And if you attempt to log in too many times with the wrong password and you get locked out, please contact the gms.deed@state.mnus email address. This is for technical assistance for the grant system. Again, if you have any issues, please contact gms.deed@state.mn.us. So I'm going to log in as an organization that received an award with the Paid Leave Outreach Grant. Here on my landing page, I will see any announcements that are system-related announcements. I will see my tasks panel, and then any future opportunities that might be available to me in this grant system. But for training purposes today, we'll be focusing on the My Tasks. There are a few steps that I want to note prior to getting into the tasks that are assigned to you. One is the user guide, new feature in our system where we are having user guides display for any user in the system right here at the top. This little book icon right here that has training materials on it is the same information as you find under the user guide tab on your toolbar. So if you click on the user guide and go to awardee grantee user guides, you will find the pre-contract award user guide for the grants management system. You can click on this. It will show as a pop-up, For the purposes of this grant program for paid leave, you'll be starting on page 7 of the user guide since you've already completed your pre-award risk assessment. You can either navigate within the user guide within this pop-up frame, or you can download in the upper right-hand corner. That will produce a PDF of the user guide, or you can hit the print functionality if you prefer to print it out. There are different viewing capabilities to do a 2-page view or increase the size of the user guide by clicking the zoom in or zoom out buttons. When you're done viewing the user guide, you can select the close button on the bottom right side. So another thing that I do want to note that's very helpful, and I encourage all organizations once they enter into the system to go and complete, is completing all the information on your organization profile. So if I click on my name in the upper right-hand corner, I will select Profile from the drop-down menu. And then I'll be taken to my person information page, which is my own individual profile. This will tell me the different role that I have assigned to my profile, who it was assigned by, and if it's inactive, it will make sure it shows an inactive date. You should only have one organization assigned to you. This is our testing site, so I have multiple. In the person information profile, there's also the selection of the preferred language. This allows you to select that language to which the system is translated to if you would like it a language other than English. It will automatically default to English, but you can select anything here, and then you won't have to select that language change button every time that you go to the first page of our website. I would double check to make sure all of your information is correct. Title, job title, primary phone number, email address, of course. And if you ever want to update your password, you can do it in the bottom of this page by selecting Edit Password, or you can edit your new username as well. The save functionality of our website is always in the upper right-hand corner. I encourage you to save frequently and often. It will allow you to save that form or whatever page you're on without losing any information. So if I navigate to the left side of my screen, I will see organization information. So right here, it will say your organization's name in this large gray area. If you click on this caret, which is this little down arrow, it will collapse this information. But it will be expanded when you initially go into this page. Go through the organization information, make sure all of this is correct. There will be contact information for a primary contact, your federal EIN. If you have a UEI, which is not required for this grant, you can enter in here if you'd like. And then making sure the business address is up to date and that the name of your organization is up to date. If you navigate to the next page, which is organization members, you will see all the members associated with this organization profile. Please let us know if anyone should be made inactive, or you can inactivate yourself by clicking on the edit button on the right side. So if you need to inactivate a user, someone who may no longer be with your organization, you can please do it here or reach out to the gms.deed@state.mn.us email. Once you've put in that date, you can click save and it will save that inactive date. We have 3 different roles in the system. Grant writer role is the lowest level of permissions. That person is only allowed to help submit things for an application. Oftentimes, these roles are used for people who contract with an organization and aren't full-time staff or part-time staff within the organization. The organization member role, or OM, is someone that has permissions to do many things throughout the life cycle of the grant and how it's managed in the system for the organization, but they cannot submit an application or payment request. The organization representative is truly someone that is designated in that role by the organization itself. That person is the first person that sets up the organization profile for the organization to register themselves into the system, and that level of responsibility or permission set is applied to that user at the time of registration. If you need to add additional members to your organization of other people that will be working in the system, you can add additional organization members at this time. To do an addition of a member, you would click on the upper right hand corner with this plus button. It says add as you hover over it. And you can do add a new user to organization. You will enter in that person's information. First name, last name are required. Job titles heavily encouraged. Make sure all the contact information is entered in. Email has to be entered in, it's required. And then you would select the role of organization member at this time. You would not select the role of grant writer unless you're applying for future opportunities in the grants management system and have someone that you might be working with who needs limited level of access to your applications for that grant program. If for some reason you want to have a temporary role of someone that you would like to inactivate at a certain time, you can put an inactive date in here. Otherwise, just leave it blank until that member is truly needs to be inactive. Please select yes when you do assign to existing documents. That will give them access to your application or any documents that are assigned to your organization that are currently already assigned. If you do not select this, they will not have access to, if you select no, they will not have access to those documents, and you'll have to reach out to technical assistance to get them assigned. You will create a username for that person and a password, and then confirm that same password that you gave them, and then click save. This person will need to know their username and password, what you set up for them, so please reach out to them and inform them of the user that you've added to the system under your organization. The other really important piece that we want to cover today is the additional organization information. This is critical for completing your contracting process, so please go in. If you have this check mark next to your additional organization information form, that means that someone has already gone in and updated it. But if you have not, if you do not have that check mark, it's even good to review it if you do. Just select the form itself. And this is all the information that you'll be using that will be tied to payments. And this should be also reflective of what you have for your SWIFT vendor information. SWIFT is our statewide financial system that will be issuing payments and grant payments out to awardees and who turn into grantees after contract execution. The doing business as, if it's the same as your organization information, just your general organization, please enter that in. Again, this should be the same as it is in SWIFT. Then update your remit to address. If it's the same as your physical address, go ahead and enter in that same information. All this is required. It may be duplicative of your organization information on that page, but you should go through and update all this regardless. But if you do have a different remit address to your physical location and this remit address is tied to your SWIFT vendor ID, please put in the correct information as it is reflected in SWIFT. Include your state tax ID. The SWIFT ID is your code for your basic general SWIFT information. Your SWIFT vendor location ID is also very important. Please put that in. This will be tied to if you have multiple locations. Most vendors do not, or organizations do not, and that SWIFT vendor location is often 001, but it is a 3-digit code. Right, so now I'm going to navigate to my home screen at the top. It'll take me back to my dashboard panel. So as part of your award notification, you have multiple forms now that you have to go into the system and complete. There is a note in your award notification that you do not need to go in and complete your pre-award risk assessment. You have already completed that offline. We will be catching up on the data entry on our side to enter in that information. So if you are in my task and see pre-award risk assessment required, please ignore that form. You can even hide it by clicking the hide button here. But you will be needing to update your contact information for your organization, the budget, and the work plan. So all three of these forms will need to be completed and submitted to DEED, and so it can start the review process. Eventually, your grant program staff at DEED within the paid leave team will be reaching out to you to set up times to meet with you and review these things to make sure that there isn't anything that needs to be changed prior to contract. So if I go and enter into my contacts form here that's assigned to me, I will see on the left-hand side grantee contact information. Eventually, the DEED staff, the grant program staff, will fill out the second form, which is the DEED grant program contact information. You can always go back into this form to refer to who is your contact, primary contact and secondary contact for at DEED for your program. So if I click on the grantee contact information, I will go in and complete all the required contacts. There's descriptions of the contacts at the upper top of this form, and it will be required for you to update this form as needed throughout the grant lifecycle that you have with your grant. So if your contacts change at any time, there will be an amendment process that you need to go through. It won't be an update to your contract, but it will be an update to the system, and you can request this administrative update. There will be a further training video regarding modifications and amendments that is provided to grantees once we get to that stage. All fields are required: first name, last name, phone number, email, and job title. Some organizations require additional authorized signers for contracts. Again, the authorized organization representative is and should be your signer on our contract to execute the contract with Department of Employment and Economic Development. If your organization requires additional signers besides this person, you will select yes from the drop-down and complete as many authorized signers as you need. So if you only require one additional one, so there would be the primary authorized organization representative and then a secondary, they would complete their first name, last name, phone number, email, and job title. If you are with the University of Minnesota, you will be filling out the principal investigator information and the key personnel. Again, these are only for the University of Minnesota. So just be mindful of not completing these if you're not with the University of Minnesota. When you're entering information in, please again click Save in the upper right-hand corner. If you have any required fields that are not completed, you will get this attention window that will ask you to complete these required fields. Once you're done entering in the information, you will go to Status Options and click Submit Grantee Contacts. You will then get a notification that your grantee contacts has been submitted, and that's under review with DEED. I just want to also note that all of your information tied to your application is at the bottom of the screen on the left-hand side in the gray toolbar as well. So under related documents, you can also minimize it by clicking on it. You will find your application, the work plan. The grant period will be filled out and completed by grant program staff, but you'll be able to see that information, and the budget. So again, contact form, which I'm showing right now, work plan, and budget are the ones that will need to be completed. If you need to go back and reference anything in your application, which we advise you to in the work plan, then you should click on your application to review that information first. So let me go back to my dashboard. So I'm going to click Home in the upper left-hand tile of the screen and scroll down to my budget information. I'm going to select that to open it up and then click on the budget form. So within the budget form, you will see your total grant award amount. It'll show you the total for the first year of fiscal year 2026, and then it will show you the amount for anticipated for the second year of fiscal year 2027. All the budget categories that are available for this grant will be shown to you under the budget category column. You'll be completing year 1 and year 2 within these columns to show how much you anticipate to have allocated for each category area. If your total on the budget bottom of the budget does not total the amount that's shown above, you will get an error notification to let you know that you're over the budget. If there's any area for the budget category that you do not have a request for to include for any amount that you would want for that, please enter in $0. And then again, make sure you save in the upper right-hand corner as you're working through this form. Again, for year 2, it will need to total the same amount that's shown in the year 2027. You scroll down, we do require a budget narrative. Please read the details of what you're expected to complete in the budget narrative by looking through the text right above. If you have any other questions regarding requirements about budget, please reach out to the grant program staff and they will be able to assist you. There are required vendor forms. These are for high-cost vendors. If you have any questions regarding a high-cost vendor, we do have information about those that are receiving $10,000 or more in total grant funds during the grant cycle. You will need to complete a conflict of interest form, which is accessible here, and the entity verification form for every single vendor. You can download the conflict of interest form by clicking on the PDF to pull up a fillable PDF that you can complete and then save, and then you will attach it to this upload button here. Please put in a description for every upload. A plus sign on the table means that you can add additional rows as needed. So if you need to have 2 conflict of interest forms and 2 entity verification forms, you will be able to add those by adding that plus button on the right-hand side. If you make a mistake and don't need a secondary upload, you can remove that row and hit confirm, and you should be able to add as many rows and uploads as you need to. Please make sure that you add 1 upload per row. If you added the upload in the same row that you've already done so, it will overwrite that form. Please include a clear description of who that vendor is with their name and write conflict of interest or COI, and same thing with the entity verification form. Once you're done completing the budget, you will hit Submit Budget under Status Options here, and then it will send off to have it reviewed for the grant program staff. Great, so now I'm going to show you the work plan. I'm going to click the upper left-hand corner to go home. So it's letting me know that I haven't saved my changes. I'll just hit confirm. And then I'll go to my tasks and scroll down to that form. Please be aware that there's multiple scrolling options within pages. So each of these areas that have different tiles on your dashboard, like my tasks, my opportunities, have their own scrolling sidebar. And then there's also a scrolling sidebar on the right-hand side to show the larger page in general. I'm going to click on the work plan that's assigned to me. So all these say that they're required. Once they have been submitted, that will change to submitted, and I'll show you how to view those items because they'll fall off of your tasks once you've completed them, but I'll show you how to see them in just after I show the work plan. So moving into the work plan form, I'm going to navigate to the form on the left-hand side, click on that. It's going to show me the completed grant period start date and end date here. This is blank right now because I haven't completed it on my side as like a program staff member, but it will show to you when you go into the work plan. It will show you your award amount again for each fiscal year and the total. Please follow the instructions at the top of each table or in descriptor areas to make sure that you're completing them appropriately. These objectives, key tasks, person, partner, responsible, start date, and end date should all be mimicked to what you submitted in your grant application. So if you want to look at your grant application, you can go to the paid leave outreach grant application on the left-hand toolbar side, which is the gray toolbar under related documents. I'm going to click on this outreach grant application and click on the application itself. So all your application documents and forms are saved on the left side. Under application, performance reporting and evaluation, you'll be able to look through some of your answers here to give you a better indication of like how you expect to measure your performance. This would be helpful in helping complete your work plan. And you'll also go to program design and service delivery. For the table that I showed earlier, we're asking you to complete your objective tasks and project timelines with the objective of key tasks, person and partner responsible, start date and end date. That mirrors what you submitted your application. You will potentially be revising this table once you've submitted it in the work plan with the discussion that happens with your grant program staff at DEED with the paid leave grant team. So again, if I want to look at this, if I want to print out a PDF version of this, I can go to the upper right-hand side and hit print. This will print out or save a PDF version of this form for me to look at and review. I'm just going to cancel out of it now to expedite the process. Well, but it did generate one for me. So it would show up in your downloads in your browser. And then you can use this to look at what you complete for the work plan. So I can also navigate to the work plan by scrolling down on the left-hand side, selecting work plan, and then clicking on the work plan required right here. So scrolling down, we can complete those objective key tasks, person, partner, responsible with start date and end date. Grant program is requesting that you complete it in the same way that you complete your application. We are also asking for a work plan narrative. Again, make sure that you read the text above to make sure that you understand what they are asking for you to complete there. If I scroll down further, we're looking at the performance measures table. These performance measures are required performance measures for this grant program. If you are not completing a specific activity category and measurable outputs, let's say that you are focusing on education and technical assistance, but not outreach. For these that you are not working on, you would enter in 0 for your projected outputs. For the start and end date, this grant program is asking you to put the entirety of the grant start and end date, which is reflected in the grant period above. Again, this will display to you what those dates are. So again, for the start date and end date, it'd be for the entirety of the grant period, which would be the whole grant. So the end date would reflect the same that's above. Start date would reflect the same as above. You must complete each row in its entirety before you can click save, or else it's going to give you an error message that you have not completed items that are required. If you scroll down further, you're going to get to the performance reporting and evaluation narrative and additional performance reporting and evaluation questions. If there are questions about project partners and you're not using project partners, please put in NA. All these questions are required, so it requires some type of answer. And then once you get to the bottom, you'll be selecting if you have any project partners involved. If you select yes, the partnership table will display. Your project partners may have changed since your original application, but if you need to go and refer to the project partners that you listed in your application, again, you can go to the scroll on the left-hand side under related documents and select Pay Leave Outreach Grant Application to reference those. Please complete all rows. Add new rows if needed if you have multiple project partners. If they are compensated, you will get additional information that you need to submit, including a compensated partner conflict of interest disclosure, entity verification form, and compensated partner memorandum of understanding. All of these are required for the compensated partner conflict of interest form and the entity verification form. These are downloadable PDFs that are fillable. You would attach one for each compensated partner that you have listed above. If you need any support during the time that you are using the grants management system, you can contact the technical assistance email, which is gms.deed@state.mn.us. If you need grant program assistance, you can contact PayLeave through payleave.grants.deed@state.mn.us. Please reach out if you have any questions. We're happy to assist you. Again, congratulations on your award. We look forward to working with you.